everybody. Welcome to Bestie Talks. This is Corey, and that's my best friend Chelsea, and we're going to talk about stuff. We were going to talk about, I guess, kind of supernatural stories that have happened in our lives. I think that was kind of where we left off. But before we get to that, I think there are some things we can talk about. Agretzko season 3 came out,
Oh,
and
yes.
I loved it very much.
It was so good.
I I liked the first season because it was so like different at the time, and I was like, "What is this thing? This is so weird." Season 2 was like fine for me. I watched it. I liked it just fine. But this season I think was really good.
This season was so good. It took such a turn.
It went from 0 to 100 so fast. These last 2 episodes. I was like, because it's like a cutesy little show, and it's like there's some serious-ish topics, but it's like whatever. They kind of like playfully do it. And so like when they were hinting, oh, spoilers, of course, for anybody who hasn't seen it yet, but there are gonna be spoilers. Um, when they were hinting at like the stalker, I was like, it's gonna be somebody like they know or somebody she knows hired someone, or like it's gonna be some cutesy thing that's gonna like get settled or whatever. And then it just no.
Right. When they first talked about the stalker, I was like, it's probably her ex-boyfriend.
Right? I thought that too at first. I was like, is that her ex-boyfriend? And I was like, no, I guess it's not. But I'm like, but it could easily be just like him keeping an eye on her, so he hired someone, or like it's just gonna be some crazy fan who's like a crazy fan. But I didn't think it was gonna be like, I'm gonna murder you, crazy fan.
Right?
I was like, shit. And I was like, it's fine, it's fine. It's gonna be resolved, it's gonna be okay, it's like whatever. And then like he fucking tried to kill her, and I was like, damn.
It's really sad because that's what our idols go through almost every day.
Oh yeah, that's like the guy who was stalking was it Neon? No, I thought it was Sana.
There was Sana and they were both stalked.
I guess they've all been stalked before, but yeah, I think it was Neon had the worst one. The German guy.
Ugh.
Yeah,
Why
it's
are
like
people so fucking creepy?
yeah, it's crazy how well, and it wasn't even like he was a crazed fan of hers. He like hated her because she quote unquote ruined it, which I also think is interesting because yeah, it's like you hear a lot about like the people who are just obsessed with their idols and want to hurt them for whatever reason because they feel they're entitled to them and whatnot. Um, but yeah, in Agretzko, he just hated her because he thought she was ruining everything, and like yeah, it got so dark. And then when it was like Haida, because I thought it was gonna be like the producer guy kind of keeping an eye on her, and then he jumped in, and then it was Haida, and I like screamed because I was like, oh, my boy.
I love him so much.
I was so happy that this season focused so much on him because he was my favorite character in season 1, and in season 2 he was just kind of there from what I remember. He didn't really do much. So in this season when he was like kind of the main character really, like Agretzko I feel like didn't do nearly as much as Haida did.
I'm sad that Finico wasn't in it as much this
I
time.
know. She was there in the beginning, so I was like, "Oh, she's gonna," because kind of the same thing where she wasn't as highlighted in the second season. So I was like,
Mhm.
"Oh, she's gonna be highlighted in this one a little more." And then yeah, she after she got the VR headset, she just kind of vanished for the most part,
Probably because she was doing nothing but VR.
right? But like, yeah, she came in here and there, but for the most part, she didn't really do anything. There was no resolution with the VR stuff, which I was like, "Oh, okay, sure." Yeah, I loved it. And then the ending, which a lot of people are pissed off about how it ended. And like, I get it, but
So are they together now?
from what I understand from like all my readings and stuff, they're not together, but they are like trying to get to that point. Like they're finally trying to just be good enough friends that eventually they might date.
That's
So,
that's a feels bad man right there.
yeah.
Because I was so excited for Haida.
I know. Yeah. When they introduced dog girl whose name I can't remember right now. But like when she came in, I was like, "Oh no, he's going to get with her to get over Agretzko and it's going to be this whole thing." But then it was like him trying to decide which one he wanted more. So like I thought it was interesting and fun, and like I was so happy that he did pick a Gretzko because I was like, if he picks this random bitch, like I'm just I'll be sad.
I felt for him there though, because I went through that.
Yeah.
Because when I had originally broken up with the guy I was with before my husband,
Mhm.
um, I was still very much in love with him, and then I started to realize that I was in love with Clint,
Mhm.
and I had to sit down with myself and be like, okay, which one do I not want to care about anymore?
Yeah, it was just interesting and stuff because it was like all the signs and everything kept telling him to be with the random dog girl, but like he wanted to be with a Gretzko is the thing.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I don't know. I really liked this season just because of all the Haida stuff. Really, like the stuff with
Fucking
the Gretzko was like fine, but
Gora's reaction with
yeah,
the dating app.
I know.
And then it just goes into her apartment with her mom, and she's like, "Who are you? The perfect match."
Right?
And it's like, what is going on?
Yeah. Yeah, right.
Oh my god.
And I did like that the ex-boyfriend was still kind of there cuz I did like him. He was kind
He
of
was a
a
dick.
yeah, but like I understand why he was a dick. Like I get his whole story and why he is like that and why he thinks like that. But like I really liked him still. So I was happy when he was still like around. I was annoyed that the intern guy was around still, but thankfully he wasn't there very long.
Yeah.
I was just like I remember him like I didn't remember like any of these characters until I was watching it. I'm like, "Oh yeah, which one was this?" And he was one
Oh,
that I was like I remember hating him, but I couldn't remember much about him. I'm like, "Oh yeah, wasn't he like an intern or something?" And he just like hated a Gretzko or
the one I couldn't remember at first was the weasel.
Oh no, I remember him, the Todd Habercorn guy, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember him just because he was Todd Habercorn. So as soon as he came in, I was like, "Oh no." So yeah, that came out. Um, in the world of K-pop, Twice's More and More English version came out. I guess it came out last week. Was it last week?
Mm-hmm.
We just didn't really talk about it, but their English version of More and More came out. Blackpink also had their collaboration with Selena Gomez come out
Who
2 days.
cares?
It's not good. I everybody was like, "Oh boy, it's the hit for the summer," and I was like, "One, summer is over. Two, like it wasn't that good." The chorus is also a repeat of something. I couldn't figure out what, but I was like, "Wait, I know this chorus melody, jingle, whatever you want to call it." But like, I really just don't like Blackpink. It's not so much even their music, even though their music is super repetitive. I don't like how they don't feel like a group. They just feel like four individual people who every once in a while come together to make a song
They
and
really need
like
to
it.
stop collabing with English artists
Yeah.
because those songs just suck.
Oh, their song with Lady Gaga was terrible. Sour Candy. It's so bad. Everything about it is just so cringy. Just the way it's arranged. I was just like, oh no. But yeah, I, mm, yeah. Anyway, that's all I'm really gonna say about that. But
But I
uh,
am thrilled with Twice's English more and more because one, confirmation of them having an English album.
mm-hmm.
Two, do you know how much karaoke is going to rock now?
I mean, I still can't sing in any of their pitches, but yeah, it'll make
But
it a
we can
little
at least
easier.
actually start to try.
That's true. Yeah, I I didn't hate it. I didn't like it. It was just kind of like, yeah, it's fine. Um, they also had their Japanese music video for Fancy come out, which again, same thing. It's like it was there. I didn't really care either.
Yeah, yeah. They ruined, like you said, Mina's boob grab.
Yeah, because I had fun watching the video because when Fancy first came out, I was one of those people that just had it like playing on repeat for like days on end to try and get it more views and stuff, which is
Mhm.
stupid by the way, but I did that. So I like have that video memorized. So watching the Japanese one, it's like you can tell where it's the Korean video and where they put in the Japanese inserts for them singing and what they changed and stuff. And yeah, Mina's little boob grab move was different, which made me sad because it's like one of my favorite parts. uh, but yeah, it was fun. They have their next twice. Is it hashtag twice three? Is
Yes.
that the no? Yeah, the Japanese album. So that will be coming out soon.
I'm not
There,
thrilled with the songs on it.
I mean, it's to be expected. They picked their singles and then they picked Stuck in My Head. Is
Yeah.
that one and then the 2124? Is that the name of it? 21.
Whatever it is. It's just
Yeah.
previous Japanese titles actually had some Japanese only songs.
That's
And
true.
this one doesn't.
That's true. This one. Well, what was their last
Well,
Japanese
the stupid trumpet
single?
one that I hate so much.
Oh, Fanfare.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm surprised that's not. Was that on a different EP?
No, it's on this one.
Oh, it is on this one. I
I
couldn't
just
remember
hate
seeing
it
it.
so much.
Yeah, it's definitely not my favorite Twice song. So that's yeah. But their comeback is in October. Pretty excited for that. And they're also going to be releasing their first I think they're not their first, but their second full album along with it. So it's going to be a pretty big comeback,
Oh,
from
good.
what I understand. Um, and speaking of comebacks, ITZY also had their newest single come out.
Not
Uh,
shy.
yeah, which I don't care for it. Like, I liked the video, I liked the dancing, didn't care for the song that much.
It's growing on me.
I haven't listened to it any more than just that one time, so I'm sure if I
Well,
did listen to it more, it would grow on me, but
I also downloaded it on Beat Saber though, so
I don't remember if I did or not. I might have. I know I saw it and I was like, should I? Normally I do just to have it, but I can't remember if I did or not.
the one part that I'm not really a fan of is at one point where Chaeyoung goes, let the beat drop,
Mhm.
and then Ryujin does the deep, not shy, not me part.
Mhm.
She does the deep, not shy, not me part, and then she suddenly goes back up into the high vocal range, and I'm just like, I wish you would have stayed in the deep vocal range because
Mm.
it was
Yeah.
sounding so good, and then nope, back to what it was.
Yeah. And I think the last one is that KDA?
Yeah, KDA did their new song,
Batter? Is that what it is? Or
Baddest.
Baddest? Yeah. It was fine. I listened to it and I was like, okay, it's cool. I mostly just got it for Beat Saber because
It's
it was there.
it's all right. It's definitely no pop star.
Mhm.
They did lose a vocalist, unfortunately, but
I wondered about that. Yeah.
there's theory that because a new League of Legends champion is a pop star herself,
Mm.
so there's theory that she's going to join KDA.
Okay.
Um, and there's somebody I also read somewhere said that they have 5 other songs in the works, so I'm hoping it gets
Yeah.
better. I really want it to. I would buy it right away if Beat Saber did a pack for them too, as long as it's not stupidly expensive.
Yeah. I was gonna say because they have the one song from Beat Saber, obviously. So I was kind of wondering, since they just released another one, if they were going to do another pack of some kind that included the new one, or yeah, if they were just gonna do a small pack
I
later
mean,
on. Something.
they may give it to us for free in a free update,
Maybe. Maybe.
but it's what I can see them doing is waiting for the quote album to drop
Mm-hmm.
and then them doing it that way.
Yeah.
But who knows? Yeah, they're definitely gonna wait a while first, but
Yeah, but still, that's fun. That's fun. Uh, yeah, I think that was all in the way of music. So we can move on to our stories now.
stories. Do you want to go first or me?
Um, Either one, really. I can start with my ghost story or my unicorn story, or I have all sorts of weird supernatural related stories.
Well, I really only have one that I can think of. So let's sandwich that in between two of yours. So you start.
Okay. I'll tell you my ghost story first because that's always fun and kind of creepy. Um, Kind of surprised I haven't told you this story before. But anyway, okay. So, growing up, or I guess not growing up, but in high school, when after the divorce happened at my mom's house, we had like this little pool house shed thing that we converted into a bedroom for me. So it was detached from the house. I had my own space. It was really nice, and I would stay up very late all night just being on the computer talking to people. And one night when I was sitting there probably just talking to Harley or something, I heard like a scream, and next to this little like shed thing there was a wire fence that was just kind of by this open field where a bunch of horses were. There was like a horse sanctuary, and this scream came from like that field. And the only way I can really describe this scream is it sounded like a girl running full speed like towards me, so it was like from far away and got closer kind of thing.
Ugh.
And it hit into my window, like my window shook when the scream like got to the window, and it scared the shit out of me. I was like, what the fuck was that? It was like 11 o'clock, midnight ish. I'm not really sure. But I like freaked the fuck out. And like, my stepsister had a tendency of like pulling pranks on me where she'd like stand outside the window or like tap on the window and freak me out and stuff. But like, this scared the crap out of me. And naturally, I went outside to check and see what it was. There was nothing there. I saw nothing. And I like went in the house. Everybody was asleep. And I was like, okay, I don't know what the hell that was. I'm going to bed now. So I went to bed. After this, weird shit started happening like in my room. Like things would just be like moved places that I just like I wouldn't remember moving them and stuff like that. And um, when I go to sleep, even now, I sleep with the window open. And back then, I had a bunk bed, so I was literally right next to the window. The window was like right where my head was, kind of thing. And I would have the window open at night to let the breeze in. And in the morning, the window would be shut. And I'd be like, why is the window shut? And it would like, I was so baffled by this, and I couldn't figure out like what was going on. And my stepsister at the time was way into watching like ghost shows. And one thing that they talked about was like spreading flour or something on the floor to see like footprints and things like that.
No, no, no,
And
no,
I was like,
no,
okay,
no,
we're going to try this.
no,
So I spread flour around my door and
no,
on the windowsill.
no,
And I opened the window for the night and I went to sleep.
no,
And in the morning, the
no,
window was shut and there were handprints
no,
all over the fucking bed. Like
no,
something had crawled over me and shut the window.
no.
And yeah, I was so fucking scared. And then there weren't footprints, but the flower by the door had moved, like something had walked through it.
No.
And I was just like, "Oh no, this is not a thing. This is not a thing that's happening." Um, I nicknamed the ghost Miranda, but I don't know what the ghost's actual name was. And it was just kind of a thing that there was a ghost living in that room with me, and she apparently didn't like the window being open. And so for months I just kind of lived with that, and that was just kind of a thing. Like, it was never anything malicious. It was just weird shit like that. And eventually I moved out of the room and my sister moved in, and same thing where like weird shit would happen. And then I think my stepsister ended up moving in there, and eventually one day it just all kind of stopped happening. So we don't know what happened. But yeah, so that's my ghost story about Miranda, or
I don't.
whatever the ghost's actual name was. I don't know what the hell happened. I don't know if this ghost just like got trapped in the room somehow or what, but it was scary as shit for a long time. And then we just kind of were used to it. I'm like, okay, well, she's never hurt us, so but yeah, no, it scared the fuck out of me. And after that, I was like, you know what? No more flour. I don't want to know. I just don't want to know.
I don't like that. I don't like that at all.
Yeah, I know.
I hate that. It's
Yeah,
gross.
yeah.
Go away.
You're telling me I woke up in the morning and like I was like, okay, maybe I in the middle of the night would like sleepwalk, shut the window or something. But like, no, there were handprints like on me. So
Ugh.
it literally
Ugh.
it literally looks like something had crawled over me to shut the window. Like
Ugh.
I hated it.
I have
Like move.
chills and goosebumps. I hate this
Yeah.
so much. Why am I home alone right now with this? Ugh.
Yeah, no, it was pretty terrifying.
Oh, mine's not anything like that at all. So, are you sure I've never told you my alien story?
Not that I can recall. You
Okay.
might have, but off the top of my head I can't think of anything.
Well, don't stop me if you heard this one. Um, so in like grade school, back before I was terrified of the dark, um, I was out with all the other apartment kids in the parking lot, playing around, riding bikes, doing whatever in the starlight.
Mhm.
And at one point, I just look up in the sky and I see this triangle of dots. So there's like three dots, kind of like in a Triforce formation,
Mhm.
just gliding across the sky. I could tell that it wasn't a satellite and it wasn't an airplane because it was moving too fast to be a satellite, and it was going over the other stars. Like it was closer than the stars.
Mhm.
Um, and it was didn't have any blinking lights like an airplane does.
Mhm.
So it wasn't either of those two things, but it was just gliding across the sky, moving pretty fast. Um, I don't know how else to describe how fast it was going. You know how fast the in old Windows 98, the screensaver of the thing gliding across the screen
Kind of,
that
yes.
bumped up against the edges of the screen?
Yes, yes, yes.
It was moving that fast.
Hmm.
So it was moving around like that, and it was just going in one direction. And I was like, "That's weird." And I was just following it with my eyes. I'm like, "What is that thing?" And I'm like, "I know it's not this. It's not that. What is that?" And then all of a sudden, I hear somebody say my name. I just hear Chelsea, and I look over. Nobody's there. There's nobody called my name. I ask around a few places. It's like, no, nobody called you at all. I'm like, okay. So I look back up and it's gone.
That's so creepy.
So yeah,
Oh,
that's my spaceship story.
I mean, that's pretty creepy too. Jeez. I've I've definitely seen weird lights in the sky before, but chances are it's like they were just airplanes and me being a small child didn't understand, you know?
Yeah, the reason why I knew it wasn't those things because I had asked that before from my mom, and she's like, "No, it's that thing because it does this or
Mm,
whatever." And so that's why I knew it wasn't any of those.
makes sense. Gosh. Yeah, that's creepy. Ugh. At least my ghost never talked to me. Jeez. That shit scares me. There was definitely there was one time I don't know when it was, like when I lived with Tenna, so not that long ago. But there was one day she was working the night shift, so I was home alone, and I swear to God, I just could hear breathing
Uh,
um, by my door. She was like, "No, it was probably the fan," and I'm like, it very distinctively sounded like breathing." But it scared the crap out of me, and I could not go back to sleep. Like,
she, uh, I don't know if you were around for when she told me this, but she told me, one time she was home alone in that apartment and she felt something by the door.
yeah. Mhm.
And then she's like, I don't know who you are or why you're here, but you don't belong here. Leave. And then
Yeah.
it did. And I'm like, no, never going to that place ever again.
Yeah, we were pretty convinced that that apartment was haunted because, yeah, there was always like random weird shit like that that just kind of would happen. Tenna is like super superstitious when it comes to ghosts and things though, too. So, I don't know. I'm sure some of it is just like normal shit, but she thought it was a ghost.
I mean,
Uh,
you're the one that heard breathing.
oh yeah, that time for sure. It sounded like somebody was standing in the doorway breathing because it scared the crap out of me. I mean, the house that I used to live in had a ghost also. His name was Hank. When they moved into the house, they found a bunch of articles up in the attic about a guy that lived there and died in the house, and his name
Oh,
was
that's
Hank.
fun.
Yeah, and so like he didn't really do much. It was like little pranks, like sometimes the door would randomly be locked. We never locked the front door, like ever, because there was always somebody home and people would just come and go all the time, so we never locked it and like sometimes the door would just randomly lock itself and weird shit like that. Or sometimes it would unlock itself. There were a couple times I forgot my keys and it would be locked and I'd knock on the door and then it would magically unlock. Which
Oh,
like
oh no.
yeah, no, shit
I
like
don't
that
like
happened.
that.
Yeah. That was mostly the extent of it was like the door locking and unlocking by itself a lot. So, but yeah, ghosts. It's like my friend Lexi. I'm convinced there's a ghost attached to her because like no matter where she goes, weird shit happens. There was one time don't know if the ghost was like in her car, but there was like a week where her car would just the lights would start flashing, the horn would start blaring, windows would be rolling up and down automatically, and it got so annoying that they would take the battery out and it would still do it.
Ah, no, no,
We
no.
were like, yeah, one time the cops even showed up because of all the noise, and they're like, "Hey, we have a noise complaint," and they're like, "Try and stop it, cause we can't." And like, they had no explanation. Like, everybody was like, they took the battery out, they unplugged things, like stuff still would happen. That they were like, we don't know either.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's like for her doors and shit like open and shut all the time. She's always sending me videos of just like doors magically opening and shutting, and she's like, "Yep, the ghost is just doing shit again." And I'm like, yeah, um, gosh, yeah."
Fuck.
So something a little nicer. When I was little, every 4th of July, we would go camping to this little like it was Iron Gate Lake, which is somewhere in California, kind of close to the border of Oregon and California. And we would go there every 4th of July for like a week.
Uh-huh.
And it was very mountainous, and the grown-ups, for whatever reason, did not care if us kids just kind of wandered anywhere, which is kind of irresponsible now that I think about it. But whatever. We were like 12-ish, I think, me and my cousin, and we took our bikes and just decided to go basically just up the mountain as high as we could. And so we did that, and there were wild horses out there. And I distinctly remember there was a brown horse, and I swear to God, it had a horn on its head. I swear it did. Because, like, we saw it, and I looked at it, and I was like, huh, that doesn't look right. And then we left, and I was like, "Hey Nick, was there something weird about that horse?" And he's like, "The one with the horn on its head?" "Yeah, kinda." And I was just like, "Okay, so I'm not the only one who saw it." But like, we tried to go back, and we never saw this fucking horse again. But
Aw, man.
but it was just like, yeah, I thought I saw it, but then I just like asked him, and he's like, "No, no, there was definitely a thing on its head." Like, I don't know. But we never saw it again. And I was like, okay, there's just a horse in that mountain that has a horn on its head. It's cool. Random unicorn, it's fine. So, keeping to the supernatural theme, tell me about your experience with Santa Claus.
What do you mean by experience with Santa Claus?
I
Like
mean, like,
how
how long
it
did you
was
believe
done?
him? When did you find out? Was it traumatizing for you? Or like the Easter Bunny, the Tooth Fairy, any of those things, I guess.
So it wasn't really traumatizing, but I definitely cried. So so the whole thing when I was growing up was Santa Claus because I lived in an apartment from like the age of 5
Mm-hmm.
on. Um, so whenever Santa Claus was brought up, I was like, "Mom, how does Santa get in here? We don't have a fireplace." And she's like, "Oh, he's magic. He can get in here by being magic." Like, okay, well, whatever. Um, and so uh, we would leave out cookies for him, and
Mm-hmm.
almost all the cookies in the milk would be gone, and he would have taken my wish list that was sitting next to it. Um, we didn't do the whole sugar or flour on the ground that people do nowadays for their kids or anything like that.
Yeah, we never did that either.
That's how you get ants.
That is how you
Um,
get ants.
but that's what we did, and there was also a thing about how the first elf would also. Mom's gonna hate me for saying this. The first elf would also always bring my mom underwear. So it was a joke
Wow.
about how he was her boyfriend. Um, because mom and dad split up when I was 2.
Mm.
So that thing happened for a while. But there was always like these talks among other kids at school about how Santa Claus wasn't real, and I'm like, but he kind of is. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know. So at one point, I was I don't remember why or what I was looking for in my mom's closet, but I was looking for something
Mm-hmm.
that she kept in her closet, and I couldn't find it. And I stumbled across this box of looked like gifts that were not
Mm-hmm.
yet wrapped. And I was like, that's weird. And I'm like, you know what? Look at them. Okay, if those are from Santa, then he's not real. And
Being a
so
little
that
detective at like.
that Christmas, they were from my mom, so not from Santa. So I'm like, okay, that wasn't from Santa. Got it. So, like a year or two later, my mom finally broke the news to me, and I was devastated. And I told her, I'm never doing this to my kids. My kids are never getting gifts from Santa. So, yeah,
Did she just like sit you down one day and was like, "Okay, Chelsea, we need to talk"?
I don't remember exactly what happened. Just like, it was like, yeah, it doesn't exist. I was devastated. I was so mad.
It's kind of funny. Yeah. For me, I was a firm believer in Santa Claus until, good lord, I was 13, I think.
Uh huh.
And the whole thing is, my parents played it up like motherfucking Santa was like the most real thing. I remember being a kid just being like, "Oh yeah, Santa, he exists. It's cool." But like, I don't know why my parents went to the lengths they did to convince us that Santa was real,
But they
because
did.
apparently because apparently it like traumatized me. Because like, yeah, I remember being in elementary school, and my friend Alicia, she was just like, "Oh yeah, Santa's not real," and I remember being like, "What? Yes, he is." And she's like, "No, no, my parents totally just told me." I'm like, well, "That doesn't make any sense. Why would your parents be doing it? Like, that doesn't make any sense." It's not logical. And she was just like, well, that's what they told me. I'm like, well, it's not true. So your parents are liars. Like, it was a thing. Cause like, I don't remember how old I was. I think I was like 8 when this happened. But there was just one night, mom and dad came into the room and they're like, girls, girls, Santa's here, quick. And I was like, what? So we like woke up. It's like 2 in the morning or something. We wake up and we go in the front room and Santa's out by the tree just putting presents out. And so we're just like watching him and like the parents are there. So I'm like, clearly it's not mom and dad. Santa's real. And like we recorded it. So we had this on film. And we watched Santa for a while, and then we immediately like rushed back in the room and went back to bed. And like, so we had this proof that Santa was real. We caught him on film. Parents are there. Clearly, it's not them or anybody else we know. So like, for a long time, anytime people were like Santa's not real, I'd be like, hold up, let me break out the footage for you. So I fucking believed in Santa until I was like 13 years old. Like I wasn't one of those people that was just like hardcore Christmas every year being like, "Oh yeah, Santa, he's real." No, it's a thing. I was just like, "Yeah, he's real. It's cool. It's a fact. Whatever." um but yeah, yeah, there was one day it was the same thing where I was like looking in my dad's bathroom for I think I was looking for a pair of scissors, and I was just like, I don't know where they are. I know dad keeps one in his drawer. And so I was like looking around in the drawers in the bathroom and I found a plate of cookies, the cookies that we left for Santa. And I was like, what are these cookies doing here? So then I had to like talk to mom and dad. I was like, why are Santa's cookies in dad's bathroom? And mom was like, you need to eat those right now to dad. And so he's like, okay, okay, I'll get rid of them. And that's when they had to sit me down and they're like, so Santa's not real. We've been Santa the whole time. Don't tell your sister. And for me, finding out Santa wasn't, because again, I could care less, honestly. I was just like, whatever. So like finding out Santa wasn't real wasn't a big deal. It was that they told me later on that like the Tooth Fairy wasn't real, and the Tooth Fairy like devastated me because the Tooth Fairy was like my best friend growing up. Have I told you
Aw.
that story?
No.
So, when I was little, this is a fact about Corey, I've only lost like 3 teeth naturally. The rest have all been pulled out from the dentist because my mouth was just too small growing up. And so, every like week or every other week, I would go to the dentist and get at least one tooth pulled. Um,
Wow, that bill.
yeah,
Oh.
so I was losing a lot of teeth as a kid. I got a lot of milkshakes, I got lots of money. And it started out as quarters at first. But after a while, I was like, you know what? This is happening to me a lot. I need more than a quarter for all this shit. So I wrote a letter to the Tooth Fairy and stuck it under my pillow, just being like, hey, Tooth Fairy, can I maybe get $1 instead? And so I got $1, and then it became 5 and 10, and then it stopped at 10. But so I was getting $10 a tooth. So I was like, yeah, I'm rolling in the dough. And I would leave little notes under my pillow to the Tooth Fairy, just being like, hey, thanks for the money. This is really cool of you to do, like, blah, blah, blah. And so one day, I got a letter in the mail from the Tooth Fairy, and the Tooth Fairy and I basically became pen pals, where
Aw.
every time I lost a tooth, I would write a letter and put it in my pillow, and then a couple days later, I would get one in the mail back saying like, "Thanks for that tooth. I'm using it to put in a new ballroom." I think is what she was making out of. She was redoing her tooth mansion, and she was using my teeth because they were so strong that she wanted them to be placed in the ballroom. And so like me and the Tooth Fairy were like BFFs. So when I found out Santa wasn't real, I didn't really care, but finding out the Tooth Fairy wasn't real, like, devastated me.
Aw.
And I found out it was mom, so I was just like, well, I guess it's kind of cool that, like, I remember specifically even saying this. I remember saying, I guess I'm not too disappointed because my dad is Santa and my mom is the Tooth Fairy. And so I was like, I wasn't sad. I was just kind of like, oh, that kind of sucks because I basically just lost my best friend. But I did find
Aw.
out it was my mom, so in some ways my mom and I kind of got closer from that. And then I didn't. Then my sister was kind of the same way, where like she believed in Santa until she was like 13 or something like that, and it was kind of
Did
fun
she also
because
find a plate of cookies?
no, what? Oh, it was way more traumatizing for my sister. Let me tell you. Okay, so we lived in this one house kind of out in the country after the divorce. That's where dad lived. And we would always spend Christmas morning with dad and then Christmas night with mom. And at the beginning of the divorce, dad was a little airheaded when it came to some things. And one thing with Christmas morning was the first thing we would do before waking up the parents was like open our stockings and see what stocking goodies we had and then sort the presents and then go wake up the parents to actually open the presents. There was one Christmas morning we went out there and the stockings weren't filled with anything. And my sister was like, "That's weird. Why didn't Santa give us stocking goodies?" And because I knew that dad was Santa, I was just like, "Oh, maybe he just forgot or something." And she was like, "Well, that's really weird." And I was like, "Maybe we're just too early." And she was like, "Well, the other presents are here." And I'm like, "Well, maybe he'll come back. Maybe we should go back to sleep." So I like ushered her back into the room, went to dad's room, and I was like, "Dad, you gotta go put the stocking stuffers in there." So I had to keep Kristen in the room for a few hours, trying to get her to go back to sleep so dad could quickly go out and fill the stockings. And we wouldn't. And a few hours later, when we went out and they were filled, she was like, "They're filled now." And I was like, "See, I told you he'd come back." And so she didn't find out at that point. But
Wow.
I don't even remember why or what happened. But my sister, one year, decided to leave Santa a gift to thank him for bringing us gifts. So she made like a little, like, it was like a little wood box that you paint, from like
Uh-huh.
Joanne. She had something like that, and she left it out and gave it to Santa, and Santa took it. And months later, same deal. She was digging in my dad's bathroom, and she found it. And I walked. I still remember her face. I walked into the bathroom, and she's sitting on the floor holding the box, tears streaming down her face. And she's just, "Why does Dad have this?" And I had to go. Dad wasn't even home, so I had to go over and sit down next to her. And I was like, "Kristen, I really hate to tell you this, but
Oh god.
Santa's not real."
That's so funny.
Yeah, it was the saddest. She was so heartbroken,
Oh
so
my god.
heartbroken. Oh yeah. And then we found
Oh.
out later that the Santa we filmed was actually Grandpa. We had a family friend slash uncle person,
Uh-huh.
he always did Santa for the little like Santa workshops around town. So he had the costume, and I guess they borrowed it from him so Grandpa could come in the middle of the night to be Santa, which we didn't find out until like way later anyway. Because yeah, even after we found out Santa wasn't real, it took a while that we were like, "Hey, who was that even?" And they're like, "Oh, it's Grandpa." But yeah, it was yeah. So
That was a
that's
good trick on their part though.
Yeah, like we never were like trying to catch Santa or like anything. We were very nonchalant about Santa. So for them to randomly at like 2 in the morning get our grandpa to come and do it just to trick us, like it was very convincing on their part. And it was so like unnecessary too, because like we totally believed anyway. But yeah,
So
yeah.
you going back to the tooth fairy, you must have been a heavy sleeper to actually have things under your pillow.
Yeah, apparently, because yeah, I remember. Oh, no, that's true. What mom would do is when she was tucking me in, she'd reach her hand under the pillow and then take it and
Ah.
pop it out because she told me after I found out what happened. Because I'm not a particularly heavy or light sleeper. I'm one of those people that's like, I could sleep on a bed of rocks just fine, but if you whispered my name, I'm like instantly awake, kind of thing. So I'm like a weird, I don't know what you would call that. So yeah, but no, she told me when she would tuck me in bed, because she would say like, once it's under your pillow, don't touch it, don't do anything to it. You just have to wait. So she would slip her hand under and take it and swap it out real quick when she was like talking to me or saying our prayers or something like that.
Wow.
And
Mom's
a
got
couple,
sleight of hand skills.
yeah, no, mom was good. A couple years ago, because mom used to write in journals and stuff, just about like us. She had like us journals, and she was showing me the pile of my teeth that she still has,
Oh my god.
and all the notes that I gave her from or for the tooth fairy. Yeah, she still has all of those, which
Wow.
I can't decide still if it's creepy or cool. A little bit of both, I guess. I don't know, but
See, we would put my tooth in this glass of water on the mantle next to the TV,
interesting.
and then I would go to sleep in my room, obviously. And then when I come back out in the morning, the glass of water is empty, dry, and has money in it.
That's an interesting way to do it. I've never seen that before.
Yeah, that's what my mom did.
Ah, that's fun. Yeah. Could care less about the Easter
I
Bunny.
don't even remember any stories about the Easter Bunny.
I remember I tried to catch him one year because I really wanted a pet rabbit. So I was like, yeah, I'll catch the Easter Bunny. He's around. Never happened, but you know. I was I yeah, I did try to do some detective work when it came to Santa because I remember after a while we would also put carrots out for the reindeer, and like the reindeer, quote unquote, would eat some of the carrots but still leave plenty. And I remember one time I went around checking the like bite radius of everybody in the house trying to see who was eating the carrots, and I couldn't identify. I was like, okay, it doesn't look like it was you.
That's
Yeah.
so funny.
Yeah, I distinctly remember going up to my mom and being like, "Show me your teeth," and then I was holding up like the carrot next to it, being like, "Nope, doesn't look like you did it." Yeah, I don't even know why I thought of that, but
Oh, that's so funny.
I don't know why I thought Santa was real so much because like every year when I asked for shit, I very rarely got what I asked for from Santa. I feel like I
Well,
never got things that I asked for. But my wish lists were always like I specifically remember one year for Christmas, I literally asked for every Pokemon thing known to mankind. I was like Pokemon cards, all the games, red, blue, even green. I asked for pillows, shirts, beddings. Like I literally asked, like this list was just Pokemon everything. And I think all I got was like a booster pack of cards. I was just like, okay. One year I wanted like they had those stupid talking dolls, you know, for a while that would say your name and shit. I asked for one of those and never got it. I asked for some Powerpuff Girl stuff. I never got. I like never got anything I asked for from Santa. One year I really wanted a guitar. No, I wanted a violin because I wanted to play violin, and I got like a miniature ukulele. Like everything I asked for from Santa, like I never actually got it. So I don't know why I was like, oh yeah, Santa. Because again, my parents played it up so much, I guess. But
For years, the top of my list was for my mom to stop smoking.
that's so sad.
Guess what my mom still does?
That's so sad. Wow. Jeez. I just remember because every Christmas Eve we would go to like Abby's for whatever reason and get pizza and whatever. And I just remember every Christmas Eve when we were driving back home, I'd be in the car just like praying to Santa for things. And like I never got them. Like I
That's
never got my stuff. I'd get like variations. Like again, I wanted a violin and instead I got some weird ukulele. So I'm like, I guess it's a stringed instrument.
funny.
I guess that works. But yeah, I don't know.
I love the fact that we're. Oh, did you ever believe in the Great Pumpkin?
No, I never did that.
Me either.
For one thing, I've never seen Charlie Brown, but two,
You
I've
what?
never seen Charlie Brown.
Ever?
Never. That's not true.
Did
There was some Snoopy thing that I think was on TV once where he was like lost in the wilderness or some shit. I remember
This
he
year you need to watch The Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown.
he was like a sled dog. I don't really remember. Yeah, no, I've never really watched any of the Charlie Brown stuff, so I never did Great Pumpkin or whatever.
Damn it, Corey. That's my favorite Charlie Brown movie.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I my childhood was not filled with Charlie Brown and Sesame Street and that crap.
Thanks for calling my childhood crap.
Not just yours, everybody's childhood, really.
Everybody's but your own.
Exactly. I had Last Unicorn and Totoro.
Yeah, I didn't have those at all. I didn't watch those till I was an adult.
I don't even know where we got those. It was just things we had in the house that I don't even know where they came from or I don't know. They were all on recorded VHSs. Like, somebody recorded them from something. But yeah, I couldn't tell you who or how or cuz my parents didn't even know what they were most of the time. It's like they just materialized and we were just like, "Okay, I guess this is a thing we have now."
So, back to our supernatural topic. Have you had any dreams about the supernatural that you're not quite sure if they were real or not?
um how do you mean?
So, one that I had was back at my old apartment that I lived in for forever was my mom. Um, at one point, I'm pretty sure this is a dream, but I'm not sure. But I was on my bed looking at the window, and in the reflection of the window, there was a little girl in white with a lantern that had a teddy bear hanging off of it
Hmm.
at my closet. And then I went to my closet and I touched the spot where she was standing, and it was warm.
Hmm.
So I'm not sure if that was real or if that was a dream.
Yeah, no, I don't think I've ever had anything like that before.
Okay.
Cause
Have
I'm
you had any dreams that felt like they were foreshadowing and you didn't realize it until after an
yes.
event happened?
Not necessarily dreams. I get like weird feelings every once in a while. Like my best friend Roxanne, her uncle Corey, yeah, came to the house once to pick her up, and while he was standing there, I had this like really intense feeling of dread. And the next day, he died. He was
Wow.
he was murdered
What?
by her dad.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
nah.
deep.
Yeah, it was just yeah. So like every once in a while I would get feelings of dread and then something would happen. There was one time I was at preschool. Um I wasn't in preschool. I was like a middle schooler, I think, but we always went to this preschool after school until the parents could pick us up. But we were there and I got this really intense feeling and I was like my cat is dead. And I just started crying and then mom, I believe, one of the parents came and picked me up. And while we were driving home, I just kept crying because I was like, my cat is dead. My cat is dead. And they're like, what are you talking about? And we passed like a few blocks from the house. There was a dead cat on the side of the road. And I was like, that's my cat. That is my cat. And
No.
so we went to the house. They dropped me off, me and my sister, and then they went back to go check. And then they came back and they're like, "Yep, that was lucky." So,
Aww.
so I've had weird things like that happen where I get intense feelings, but I don't think I've really had dreams like that.
Have you had any intense feelings recently?
Recently,
Like those within 2020?
within 2020, no. There have been a few times I've gotten really scared. I can't remember even who. I think it was last year or the year before. I did get a very intense feeling. I think it was Brie. One of my friends I had a really bad feeling about. And so for like a week, I was constant. I think it was Brie. I was just constantly calling and checking in on her and stuff like that because yeah, I just had a really bad feeling. But there were times, yeah, when people would visit me, like Tenna and Brie, and I would just get a really bad feeling and be like, please be careful when you go back home. Like, but no, nothing really in 2020.
Okay.
Yeah. Which, I mean, despite everything going on.
Right?
No, nothing too wild that I can remember.
Have you ever had that feeling with me?
Um, I feel like I have, but I can't remember a specific instance
Hmm.
off the top of my head. What about you? Do you have dreams like that?
I have this one that I like to call the Grandma Stone dream.
Hmm.
Um, every once in a while, it doesn't happen very often. Um, but I will have this dream where I'm at Bear Creek Park
Mm-hmm.
and I have to find this big stone that has different colored stones on it that spells out grandma, and I have to find it. Um, and almost every time I have that dream, something happens with one of my grandmas.
Hmm. Interesting.
Yeah. Like the first time was when Mimu had to have her knees replaced.
Mm-hmm.
And then one time was shortly before my dad's mom died.
That's weird.
Yeah. My dreams are so fucking vivid.
Yeah, so are mine. I always remember all my dreams. My dreams are also like they're crazy. They're weird. I can control them though, so it's not too bad. Have I ever told you my pet theory with dreams?
No.
Maybe we'll do that next week. Talk dreams.
Dreams that we've had or dreams that we have in life.
Both. Yeah, I've got some interesting thing theories about dreams and dreaming and sleep in general.
All right. Look forward to hearing those. I'll have to talk
I'm
about
like I'm
some
like
of my
it's too
terrifying.
long. It's too long to go into right now, but
So then that means next week I can talk about the terrifying one that I had.
yeah. Yeah, you can tell me that. I can tell you some we can talk dreams and nightmares.
All right. That's next week then.
Dreams and nightmares. Yes, it'll be good. I'll have to break out some of my dream journals or something. I I used to write in a dream journal, but it became tedious because it was like I'd have to do it so much because yeah, I typically remember every dream that I do. So I just got tired of doing it, but I still have dream journals going back several years.
Wow.
Oh yeah. Cuz for a while I wanted to do a book series based on my dream theories stuff, but again, we can get into that next week.
All right. Well, thank you all so much for hanging around, listening to our supernatural stories. And if some of you just now realize that Santa and the Tooth Fairy and the East Bunny aren't real, we're sorry. Just
Sorry for ruining that for you.
go thank the people that made it real for you, and maybe you'll have a new best friend like Corey did.
And did. My mom and I still talk about that all the time.
Thank you so much for sticking around, and we will see you next week.
Yep. Bye.
Bye.